Hi, my name is Sean Going. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And tonight, what I wanted to do is spend a few minutes and just speak to you about the concepts of Chinese medicine as it pertains particularly to springtime energy, one of the major organ groups in your body and the energetics that are understood to influence and be influenced by that organ group, and also how it pertains to so many experiences that people are having right now, self quarantining or self. I don't like the term isolating quite as much as self distancing, hopefully, because hopefully there's still opportunity for us to not feel isolated despite spending a lot of time away from groups and keeping ourselves hopefully safe and keeping loved ones safe in this time where we're fighting this massive pandemic. So we just started spring, and springtime is what the Chinese referred to in five element theory as the season of wood. Basically, every major season that we experience relates more or less to certain different elements. Those elements in five element theory are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And so we also talk about different energies such as yin energy and yang energy. And what's usually very exciting for a lot of people who, especially, are more interested in being social and being out and being with other people, is that whereas in wintertime, the season of water, it's considered the season of yin within yin. So yin energy is very internal, it's very cool, and that matches what we see energetically in nature. It's a colder season, obviously, during winter in most places. And winter is different depending on where you live, obviously. Australia, for example, is very different than where I'm from here in New England. But in a typical winter, wherever you're living, the days are shorter. You're further away from the sun. So you might naturally want to go indoors a little more often because it's colder outside. I know that doesn't always pertain to everybody, but even when you're really into winter sports, snowboarding, skiing, those types of things, the natural inclination is to bundle yourself up and make your body more internal than it might be when it's actually warmer outside and you wear a little less, perhaps. So we go from this season where even many animals might be hibernating, and we are a little bit used to being more internal, a little bit more, I don't want to say guarded, but maybe sheltered, and maybe guarded as well, because again, we are wearing more clothing usually to keep ourselves more protected from the elements. And what's very exciting for many people as we approach spring and we enter and move from and transition from that season of water to that transition of wood energy is there's this natural uh, energy that is associated with wood about exploding and about growing and about expressing yourself. So the liver and the gallbladder are the primary organs that are associated with this wood energy. And the idea behind these two is that the Chinese have a saying that the liver opens to the eyes, which is why many pathologies which might influence your liver, and when you have liver disease, you might get jaundiced and you might start to see it in the eyes first as you're processing different drugs that people are put on, including pharmaceuticals at times. You might see people get bloodshot. If you drink a lot of alcohol, obviously it can show in the eyes. Eventually, the eyes even get glassed over. So there are ways in which the Chinese would historically have said that the liver opens to the eyes. And along with that is this idea that when you have a healthy liver, you have a healthy vision. Now, this vision isn't just the physical vision, just the ability to perceive visual objects within your vision field. It also includes the a little bit more esoteric, spiritual, or psychological idea of having a healthy vision for yourself and the world around you. So, this can include sometimes what some people have referred to as a pioneering spirit. So, someone who has a really strong liver in Chinese medicine or a really healthy vision also might want to manifest that vision in their life or in the world around them. So, this tendency is sometimes seen in certain types of entrepreneurs, certain business people. But either way, when we have this vision, especially if we've been spending a lot of time a little more quiet, a little more indoors, and now we hit this spring season that relates so much to that liver energy. And we have all these things, and it's a time where a lot of people start to get really creative. They go outside more. The days suddenly get longer. We feel a lot better. hopefully, if we've been feeling a little pent up and a little bit of cabin fever. And so this is really interesting in terms of what's playing out right now when we're all supposed to be social distancing, or any other time when this might happen, because it is a universal truth that we have these energies within us, and that even hopefully at some point we won't be worried about a pandemic, and these qualities of us wanting to get out, do more, start to manifest things. This is one of the reasons we talk about people spring cleaning all the time. It's an interesting idea that happens in spring for most people, where we open the windows, we suddenly let the outside in, we let the inside out, we go outside more, we hit the trails if we like to hike or trail run or those types of things, and we just start enjoying nature more, and we get out and we interact more, hopefully. But along with that, again, is this idea that ideas that people have had, thoughts that people have had, maybe resolutions that people set and they haven't really started to attack yet. This is the time when those things tend to start happening. So one of the images that I frequently offer patients when I talk about wood energy and healthy wood energy is it's like a seed that needs to crack that shell of its own self in order to start to manifest itself and to become the plant or the tree that it eventually wants to become. And that requires a little bit of the energy that we associate with anger in Chinese medicine. Anger isn't a negative thing necessarily. Toxic anger is, as are all toxic emotions. But when we have that anger energy, that ability to say, okay, now's the time, I need to manifest myself as a tree, no longer just a seed, then we need to crack from that shell so that we can grow upwards. And there's that explosive energy I was referencing a little bit earlier. Or whether we have an idea in our head and we say, okay, I have this business idea and I know I need to get the ball moving. And you know what? The days are a little longer. I feel like I have a little more energy. I'm getting more chi or more energy from the sunlight around me. I have more natural energy just coming my way. Here we go. I'm going to act on this now. And so that's really interesting when you start to compare coming out of that hibernated state, coming out of that more yin within yin state, we start to feel more yang energy, more expressive, more explosive, more energetic, more warm energy around us environmentally. And we hit this springtime and we're like, here we go. Let's go out and do things. Let's get more engaged. Let's start to manifest this vision that I've had for myself or for the world around me or for my family or my friends or my business or my company or whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden, in the context of that, we're finding ourselves in a place where we really shouldn't be going out and doing as much if we're trying to do our part as responsible, caring, and loving citizens who are being mindful of the health of not only ourselves, but also of others. And we find ourselves suddenly with all this this energy that we're ready to go forth and ready to do things and ready to conquer the world. And we're being told, no, the world will conquer you if you go out right now, potentially. And you could be putting yourself, loved ones, family, friends, neighbors, and even strangers you might bump into in grave danger. And so it's a really interesting challenge for us to try to overcome as individuals, but also it presents its own unique opportunities because we do hopefully have a little bit more energy. Even when you look out the windows, you see longer days, more sunlight, hopefully the ability to actually open up your windows and be a little more comfortable and not be too cold in your house at this point. Just put on a sweater or something. Or you could still potentially, depending on where you live, go outside and enjoy some of nature. You know, even if you live in a major city that's being hit particularly hard by this just because of the density of your population, we know that there's still hopefully areas where you could at least get out of your apartment or get out of your home and still get a little exercise and start to experience that natural health that comes with getting more sunlight, things like that. So yeah, even in the context of socially distancing and trying to avoid large crowds, things like that, or even small crowds at this point, there are a lot of opportunities to still hopefully get outside, get some fresh air. We know that's very good for a lot of things, including perhaps your immune system, and just keeping you mentally healthy as well is very important. But even if you're at a place where you can't do that, just looking outside a window, hopefully you have one available to you, letting a little fresh air in, things like that, and then saying, okay, even if I'm limited to some extent by circumstances presently, what are some things that I've maybe had on the back burner for a while that I want to manifest in my life? What are some things that I've had that I really want to start to take a hold of, and that maybe I could plan out. Because partnered with the liver is the gallbladder, and the Chinese have a way in which it might not make too much sense on the surface, and I don't want to get too heavy on theory right now, but they have this idea of how the gallbladder is partnered with the liver in order to actually manifest the vision and to help you plan that vision out. So, at some point, if you keep yourself healthy, and if we all just are able to wait this out, for most of us who are unable to go out and be around other people right now and wouldn't want to, even if we have that ability, at some point, this will be over. So maybe you have a book you've been wanting to start writing, or maybe even just reading, or something you've wanted to learn. I've been spending a lot of time here and there practicing learning Spanish a little bit myself, and learning some sign language as well, because both those languages are very, very intriguing to me. And find them very fascinating and interesting. And Spanish more, I have to go and conquer that, because when I was in high school, I wasn't quite as focused as I am now. So I've learned some other languages here and there a little bit, but it's time I actually got that one under my belt. Maybe it's you have a website that you've neglected for a while. Maybe you want to start actually making a podcast or talking to people on YouTube. Maybe it's you have a yoga practice that you used to be very engaged in when it was just a month ago at this point, and you were going several times a week, but you've never really taken that practice home. Or you've been swearing to yourself that you're going to get your diet right so that you're eating healthy, nourishing foods to start giving yourself the best chance at good health and feeling better. And that's been something you've been, again, avoiding. Right now, a lot of the things in the supermarkets, at least where I am, are out of stock, right? But one thing that there seems to be a whole lot of is fresh produce. And so maybe you're not comfortable cooking with that. Guess what? Hopefully, you have the internet at your disposal, and you can learn just about anything on this thing. So maybe even a little Chinese medicine here or there. So either way, yes, you should be avoiding groups. Yes, you should be practicing safe social distancing practices right now. It's really important, guys. It really is. It's not just your health, it's the health of your loved ones and those around you. However, there's still so many wonderful things you could be doing. And unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves, I've had some people reach out to me to ask what they could be doing to deal with their own anxiety. And I'll say, well, first and foremost, I want to know what you're doing. How are you spending your time? Some people are putting the news on way too much right now. We have this sense of loss of control, and maybe this reality that we didn't have control in the first place. And that can be really overwhelming at times. But there are things that you can control. There are things that you can do. You can set a schedule for yourself. It can be really basic. You can say, like, okay, I don't know if I could do a push-up right now. I'm out of shape. Well, maybe there are ways you can start to practice that. You can say, okay, I don't have a big place, but there's some things I've wanted to do in terms of reorganizing and decorating. Okay, you have a vision for yourself. Start to plan it out. Start to think of what are the things that you can control. What are the things that you can do? So one thing I recommend to a lot of people is just focusing on breathing exercises. Breathing is the most natural thing that we do, and so often, because we do it subconsciously, we're not even aware of how we're doing it. So there are some, what can at first seem like unnatural practices we can do that can be very helpful. So one of them that I'm guiding some people in is a technique called box breathing, where you slow your breathing a little bit, and it's very rhythmic. There's a nice cadence to it. So if you think of a box, I always, for whatever reason, start going upwards. So you start, let's say, about a 4-second inhale, and then a hold for 4 seconds, a 4-second exhale, and then a 4-second pause or 4-second hold again. So you want to breathe deep into your belly. And it's a great way right now to actually strengthen your lungs and to be mindful of how blessed we are with healthy lungs, hopefully. And so, again, it's 4-second inhale, pause or a hold for 4 seconds, 4-second exhale, pause or a hold for 4 seconds, and then that's the whole thing. So you can do that for a few minutes or so. If you added all that up, it's 16 seconds per breath at that point. You could do it for 5 seconds per breath and hold, and exhale and hold. You can play around with it a bit for what feels comfortable. It might not feel quite comfortable right away. Obviously, if you have any underlying medical conditions, you want to speak to your primary care physician before you ever alter any routine or anything like that. So that's my medical disclaimer here. But for a generally healthy person, this is an excellent way to start being conscious of your breath and to slow your breathing. So there are a lot of clinical studies that have shown that when we cut our breathing and respiration rates in about half from what are natural at a relaxed state, which is about 14 breaths per minute for most people, so we cut it down to about 7 breaths a minute or less, the heart rate starts to slow and calm over time. Different biorhythms start to occur. This isn't Chinese medicine theory here. This is actual studied Western science, and this is it's really incredible to see the way that these things can change different, like I said, biorhythms in our body. Cortisol levels, a major stress hormone, can start to drop. We start to come out of fight or flight if we're in a state of anxiety for a lot of people. And what's nice about breath work like this is you can do it for 5 minutes before bed, right? You can set that, again, setting that pattern. You can do it as a mindfulness practice before each time you eat a major meal. So if you eat 3 major meals a day and have some snacks in between, do that. If you're a smoker and you know that that's so unhealthy for you and you've known this for a long time and now you're really getting the fear of God in you because of this COVID-19, maybe what you want to do is before you have a cigarette, spend 3 minutes doing box breathing like this. You don't have to be sitting in any special positions. You don't have to do anything abnormal that you've seen other people do before with your hands or anything like that. You don't have to be in a special sacred place for this. You can do this anywhere. Before you get into a car to go somewhere, you're going to go down the road and just take a drive because you need to get out of your house. Just spend a few minutes before you turn that car on. Anytime you're in a safe place, you can do this. So it doesn't cost anything. It's a simple little practice you can do. It can lower anxiety levels. At the same point, it may actually help balance out different neurotransmitters, actually help combat things like depression potentially. Now, I'm not saying all you have to do is a little box breathing, and if you have a major anxiety disorder or major depressive issues or clinical depression, that this is going to be a cure-all for that. Absolutely not. This is just one minor thing, but it can make a really big difference. So that's my little tip. It's a safe practice for you to do. Again, as long as you're in a safe place, don't do it while you're driving down the road or driving down the highway or whatever, skydiving. But it's something simple that you can do for yourself. So those are my recommendations for where we're at right now. If you don't have a schedule of any sort and you feel like days are just going by and you feel like you're having a tough time with that, maybe you have a job where you can't work at home, maybe you have tons of anxiety because you don't have the ability to make an income right now. That's a reality that a lot of people are going through. And we certainly have to deal with those things in different ways and find ways to rise to the occasion to face these great challenges that we have. But these are some simple things you can be doing for yourself. So I hope that helps. Hope you're doing very well. I look forward to hopefully sharing a little bit more of the Chinese philosophy and Chinese medicine theory. I'll be doing videos from time to time. So if you've appreciated this, please do me a favor. Go down below, look for that subscribe button, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, like this if you like it. If you don't like it for some reason, you can let me know that too. Make a comment in the comments below. What's something that you've been doing for yourself or heard somebody doing or something you've been thinking about doing to help you get through social distancing, staying at home a little bit more? What's something that you've been doing for yourself that's helped with that? And maybe if you have an idea of something you've been waiting on for a while, then now that we have this really wonderful, vibrant spring energy and our liver is all activated and ready for us to manifest this vision that we've had for ourselves, what's something that's been for you? And maybe how are you going to tackle it if you want? So feel free to leave that in the comments below. Again, give me a subscribe and a like. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. God bless. Take care. Peace.